And welcome to Roadside Notes. I'm Christopher, the Route 66 chaplain, and these are readings from the Faith and Good Courage Journal found at faithandgoodcourage.com. Stories from the road, a little grace for the miles ahead, and reminders that hope still travels with us. This journal, What God Hands You, is from my entry on March 19th, 2026. What God hands you is something I've been thinking about every time I hear someone say their prayers went unanswered. I've said it to myself. We all have. We picture a finished thing when we pray, a solution, a miracle, a cake already frosted and cooling on the counter. But that's rarely how answers arrive. I remember my mother telling me the old story about a man who prayed for a cake. He asked sincerely, faithfully, and when God answered, all he received was a bag of flour, sugar, eggs, vanilla, a bowl, a spoon, and an oven. The man complained. I asked for a cake, he said, not a grocery list. And the reply came back quietly and clearly. I gave you everything you need to make one. That story stuck with me because it felt uncomfortably familiar. Prayer has a way of revealing our expectations more than our faith. We ask for relief and are handed patience. We ask for direction and we're given a map that still requires us walking. We ask for rescue and are handed responsibility. There's another story like this, the one about the man who fell into a well. He prayed for God to save him. A man came by with a ladder and offered to lower it. He declined and said, God will save me. It began to rain and water began to fill the well. Another man came by, this time with a rope. He offered to lower it, and he declined it again, and he said, God will save me. Then the well filled more, and he could no longer tread water, and the faithful man drowned. When he reached heaven, he asked God, why didn't you save me? And the answer was simple. I sent you a rope. I sent you a ladder. See, the problem wasn't faith, it was recognition. It doesn't glow, it doesn't announce itself. It shows up as an effort, timing, or help requires humility to accept. The road has taught me this lesson more than once. You pray for clarity, and instead you meet a stranger who asks the right question. You pray for strength, and instead you're handed a long stretch of quiet where you have to sit with yourself. You pray for God to fix something, and what you're given is the chance to participate in the fixing. That's the part we often miss. Answers don't always remove us from the process. Sometimes they invite us into it. Now, I don't mean to boast, but I got to hang out with a lot of great people. I remember talking to Garth Brooks backstage about a song that he wrote with his good friend Pat Alger about unanswered prayers. I shared with him a moment or two about how amazing he was as a storyteller, about how that song affected me, about how the truth was hiding in that song, the quiet brilliance, the part people feel before they analyze. It doesn't argue with God. It recognizes hindsight. I can still remember that boyish grin on Garth's face when I said that. The magic of that song is, what felt like silence was actually protection, redirection, or mercy doing its work off stage. Time revealed what emotion couldn't see in that moment. If there's anything I truly know, we're good at praying. We're less practiced at receiving. Here's the line that keeps coming back to me, the one I scribbled on a napkin and haven't been able to shake. God rarely just hands you something. He hands you the ingredients of His recipe and then waits to see if you'll trust Him enough to start mixing. That's the faith part we don't talk about much. Faith isn't believing God can do it. Faith is believing what He handed you is enough. In my roadside reflection, if you're waiting on an answer today, look around your hands before you look to the sky. What if the thing you're calling a delay is actually an invitation? What if the rope is already within reach? The ladder already leaning against the wall, and the ingredients already on the counter? Faith doesn't always mean waiting longer. Sometimes it means starting sooner. Trusting that what you've been given imperfect and unfinished as it feels, is exactly what you need to begin. The miracle might not be the cake. The miracle just might be discovering you were capable of baking it all along. Travel well, my friends. Have faith and good courage.